by show of hands, how many of you like to be the best? All right, well, not to shoot your egos, but for the next 3 to 5 minutes, I am the best. At least when we're talking in terms of kick line. But I didn't get this good on accident. It took years of practice. And all that time, it would have been pointless if I was using improper form. So that's why I'm going to teach you guys today proper form for kick line so that when you're practicing, it will be more beneficial. So before you actually start kicking, you're going to have to hook up. So I'm going to have Amelia come help me demonstrate that. All right, so the first step of hookup is it's something called a splice. And your right arm is going to be straight up and your left arm is going to be straight down. And you're going to want to make sure that if you don't have your palms, your hands are together. And then the actual hookup, you're going to swing your arms in a clockwise motion. And if you're on the end, then your arm is going to go in what's called a butterfly. So your arm is just like straight behind your back, tucking out a little bit. And your right arm is always going to be in front, and your hand is on top of their shoulder. And then your left arm is always going to be behind, on top of their shoulder. And you're never going to want to like slouch it over their shoulder, because not only can it affect your kicks if you have improper hookup form, but it can also affect the kicks of your partner. So once you're standing in kick line, then your posture is extremely important, because if you don't have good posture, then you're more prone to falling, and we've had a lot of that on our team and it's not very fun. So you're going to want to make sure that your back is completely straight, and by doing that, your shoulders can like roll back like this, and your chest will be out. And your feet are always going to need to be like straight together like this throughout your entire kick line, because if you're kicking like this, then again, it's going to be much easier for you to fall. And you're always going to want to make sure that your chin is up. It doesn't really help you practicing your kicks, but it just looks a lot better. And if your chin's not up, then you're going to get marked down when you go to competition. And some people never know how far up to put their chin, so we like to say, if you can fit a cantaloupe in between your collarbone and your chin, then you're doing pretty well. Or if you're in the gym, if you're looking up roughly by the balcony bleachers, that's where your chin and your eyes should go. So now that you're actually standing in kick line, we should probably start kicking, except you can't start kicking until you prep. And for those of you who don't know what a prep is, it's obviously like the preparation for your kick. And so it's just a little like bounce on the balls of your feet. It's not really a hop. You're just going to kind of go up and down motion. And you're going to be doing that throughout your entire kick. So every kick is going to be up and down. But your first prep before your first kick of kick line is going to be on the count right before you kick. So if your first kick is on the count 1, then you're going to prep 5, 6, 7, 8. So after you prep, then you have to actually kick. And the most important things about your kick are that you brush your floor, that your leg is straight, and that your ankle is always pointed. So brushing the floor means like you're gonna sweep your foot up. So instead of like some people will just like wanna like hop their foot up, you're gonna sweep it up through the entire kick. And keeping your legs straight means that you're pushing from the calf rather than coming up from the quad. And it's a lot easier to keep your legs straight if your toes are pointed. And although you do want to point your toes, it's a lot easier to tell if you're pointing your ankles. So for instance, right now I'm pointing my toes, but you can't really tell. But if you point your ankle as well as your toes, then it's much easier, much more noticeable. And then if you're pointing your ankle, it's really hard to bend your knees because your whole leg has to be flexed. All right. And using your bed, like if you bend your legs and stuff, then you're gonna be, again, more prone to falling, or you might land on your ankle wrong and you might twist it. So practicing with good form is really important, because if you're practicing with bad form, then it can lead to hours upon hours of wasted time. So going over all the aspects again, in kick line, make sure your arms are straight and strong so that your kicks will benefit as well as your partners. Remember to always keep your back straight, feet together, and your chin up with that cantaloupe, as I said. Make sure that you're always prepping as an up and down motion, and that your kicks are always going to be straight, and that you're brushing the floor, and your ankles are going to be pointed. So with all these tips, maybe you can go home and practice your kicks, and you might be as good as me next time tryouts come around.